All right. So I had to cut everybody off, but so we got about 37 people. I think we're just going to get started. I'm gonna just want to do a quick introduction. Every year we do a business workshop. Last year we did it with Wayne as well. Got a ton of positive feedback. So maybe just in the beginning, if you can you just mute yourself?
Yeah.
So we don't have outside noises when we're trying to get started. Last year, Wayne did the business planning, and we had a lot of terrific feedback. So I thought, who better to do it again than bring Wayne back? So without any further ado, most of you already know Wayne, but Wayne Frederick, you're up.
You're too kind, my friend. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well.
Morning.
Carl, appreciate the opportunity as always. Not as good as being live, but second best thing, and we're actually going to talk about that here in a while. So thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to be with me. We're going to go about an hour, and I want to lay out. I would just as a kind of an opening. I want to tell you that setting goals is easy. Business planning is easy. Mathematics is simple. Having the right mindset, though, to implement the program the path that you decide to go down, that's the hard part, right? It's all a mindset issue. I will tell you, everyone that's looking at me right now, I will tell you that whatever you want to set out as a goal, you can do it. The question we have is, what does it take for you to be consistent? Because we know that's absolutely 100% the key to this whole deal. And so I want to try to help you with some mindset this morning. I'm going to give you a very simple business model toward the end for you to work your way through. I know Vic has sent you some workbooks and things like that. And then you can sit down with Carl, Olivier, Jason, whoever, and really have somebody kind of check the mathematics and then start implementing the things that your mathematics tell you need to do. So with that slight little opening, let me share my screen and we will get rolling. Okay, Carl, give me a thumbs up. I'm assuming you can see that. That'd be correct, my friend. All right, thank you. Hold on, I got to make one little move here. Sorry, I wasn't totally prepared. Okay, let's get into this. All right, so my goal for this today, all right, is simply this. To help you develop the strategies and 100% the most important thing is your mindset, right? To allow you to do one of the following three things. Now, I've discovered over the years in real estate, I've been in real estate business 35 years. And as most of you have heard me tell the story before, totally floundered for my first 4 years in real estate. And then in year 5, my business took off. My business took off in year 5 because my wife gave me 12 months to either figure out how this business worked or go get a quote unquote real job. And so what really changed for me was mindset. All right. So I want you to be able to have the mindset to do one of three things. Number one, make more money with your current workload. I'm sure there's some of you on here right now. You're totally fine with the hours that you're putting in this endeavor. You just wish you could squeeze more money out of it. Secondly, you're totally fine with the money that you're making. You wish you could get your life back. Try to show you some strategies for that. And obviously, if we're really going to knock it out of the park, you're going to make more money with less work. So one of the things I want to lay out early is this. I do not believe that there is any correlation between the number of hours that a real estate agent works and the amount of money they make. I don't think those two are connected. And I know that is probably a foreign concept to the industry. But if that were a truth, if that were a law, then you wouldn't see people working 60, 70 hours a week at this, making $40,000 or $50,000. And conversely, you wouldn't see people working less than 40 hours a week, making $500,000. Now, are there times when you need to work really hard? Absolutely, 100%. But what you really need to be doing, what we need to be working on is having the mindset of just becoming better, of turning pro, if you will. That's where you start to see the workload fall off. That's where you start to see the income rise. So Pablo Picasso said this: goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan, which we fervently believe and upon which we most vigorously act. There's no other route to success. So the two key components of this are: number one, you have to fervently believe in your plan. My plan would probably not be your plan. The way I scaled my business would probably not be the way that a lot of you would scale your business, and that's okay. It has to be something that you believe in. Now, it's one thing to have a goal. It's another thing to layer a business model behind the goal. And then secondly, once you have the model in place, you have to act consistently and vigorously within the model. What I've discovered is most real estate agents really don't have a model. They don't know the mathematics of it. They don't know what to expect. I see it all the time with the online purchase lead game. You hear people say all the time, oh, I tried that and the leads weren't any good. Well, in some of these vehicles, I'll be frank with you, the leads are good. The agents aren't very good, but the leads are good. So you have to take your model, not just your goal, but your model, and get another set of eyes to look at it. See if your expectations are something that you could do, and then you have to go take the action steps that the model requires. My question to you would be, what do you have in common with these people? I mean, these are incredible athletes, right? They're incredible athletes. What you have in common with them is simply this: you have the opportunity to make the decision to be elite. See, I look at what we do as entrepreneurs, as small business people. I look at it as our playing field to be elite, no different than the swimming pool for Michael Phelps, the tennis court for Serena Williams, the golf course for Tiger Woods, or anybody else that's up here. See, they made a decision to be elite. They didn't get there and then go, oh, I probably should start practicing now. I mean, Steph Curry didn't get to the NBA and go, I think I'm going to work on my three-point shot right now. Michael Phelps doesn't wait until 3 weeks before the Olympics and goes, well, I think I better get in the pool. So the thing that they do is they made a decision: I'm going to do more than the average person. I'm going to take this to a level higher than the average person. Now, that's completely up to you guys, okay? It's completely up to you, A, whether you make the decision, and B, what being elite looks like to you. Perhaps it is more money. Perhaps it's not more money. Perhaps it's just living the life that you want to live. But I'm here to tell you today, time doesn't fix this. It's not like, and this was a flawed thought that I had when I first started in real estate. I thought that just over time, you would get better. You would make more money. You would get your life back, right? What I learned was it's not true. It's 100% not true. And so a lot of the work that I have done over the last 20 years with people is trying to identify or at least have conversations with the people that choose to be elite, choose to be more than the average bear, if you will, and then try to help them in that endeavor, right? And he went away. I don't know where Carl went, or maybe he just moved around on my screen. Carl's a classic example of this. You are very lucky to have Carl and Olivier as the leaders of your organization, because they have made the decision to be elite, and you are the benefactors of that. And you get to do exactly the same thing in your business. So I'm going to lay out kind of how this works, what the rules are. So there's a thing called Pareto's Law, one of my favorite things on the planet. Economist Vilfredo Pareto noticed a regular pattern in wealth and income. 80% of the wealth was concentrated in 20% of the people. And the further that he dug in this, the more he realized it was true, that 80% of the wealth was in 20% of the people, and then 80% of that wealth was in 20% of those people, and 80% of that wealth was in 20% of those people, and so on. Well, that is really playing out in the real estate industry today. We are seeing a smaller and smaller group of people take down very large blocks of the business, all right? Now, this is just a law. The 80-20 principle is a law. And you will wear 20% of the clothes in your closet 80% of the time. You will walk on 20% of your carpets 80% of the time. You will eat at 20% of the restaurants 80% of the time. And when you order from the menu, it'll be 20% of the menu 80% of the time. This plays out every time I come to your fine area because we always go to Steakhouse 85. That is the classic example of the 80-20 principle. All right. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand. 80% of your income truly does come from 20% of your activities. Bigger one is there's 20% people and there's 80% people. Now, the 20%ers of the world, what's the difference? They simply think differently than the masses do. The other thing that I will tell you is this. When you are in the field every day, you need to be constantly making the decision, is this a 20% person I'm dealing with or is this an 80%er? 20% people you want to get close to always. You want to show them tremendous value. 80% people, quite honestly, you want to get away from. So every time you get a lead from whatever source you're getting leads from, every time you get a lead, please understand they're not equal. 20%ers in there. There's also some people you probably shouldn't try to do business with because they're not going to do anything. You can't overestimate the unimportance of almost everything in life. The word priority came into the English language in the 1400s, and it remained singular until the 1900s when the word priorities was invented. Early on, see, we only had one priority. You had to get your one thing done. Now we try to dabble in a lot of different things, and realtors are famous for this. The question is, what's your priority? Can you get really clear on your priority? Well, of course you can. You can absolutely get crystal clear on your priority. And that's what helps you start modeling things out and putting things in place moving forward in 2022. Average adult spends in 2018, spent 144 minutes a day on social media. It's up an hour from 2012. 876 hours a year. And actually the number's higher now. I just don't have 2021 numbers, but I know it's higher because of the pandemic. 876 hours a year we spend on social media. It's 876 hours a year that we spend on something that literally didn't exist 15 years ago. And I would make the case that really hasn't really made our lives better. I'll ask a question of you. I know that when my phone tells me, I get the notification, as I'm sure you do every once in a while, that my screen time is either up or down from my average screen time. Now, I don't know about you, but when I get the notification, it says my screen time is less than my average. I feel pretty darn good about myself. When my screen time is more, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I spending so much time scrolling through, watching what other people are doing? How do I have that much time to be able to do this? In that same 876 hours, if you were an average level reader, actually a pretty slow reader, you could read a half a page a minute on a book. And if the book was 300 pages, you'd read 87 books in a year. See, one of the things I'm going to tell you today is, and the thing that I see playing out in society right now, where a lot of the news is about the fact that we can't get people to go back to work. There's a lot of people now that are saying, oh, I don't want to go in and work 8 to 5 anymore. I want to work on my terms, and I'm going to find me a job that allows me to do that. Well, at some level, that's what we all did, isn't it? Everyone that's on this webinar today, we made that decision, and that's what attracted us to the real estate business. We didn't want to work for anybody else anymore. We didn't want someone telling us when we had to be somewhere or what we had to be doing. And I'm all about people not having quote unquote real jobs. I get it. But what I'm seeing happen in society today is everybody's grabbing a hold right now of the sexy part of this. The fact that I don't have anybody telling me where I have to be, and I get to make my own decisions and all those things. And what they're not talking about is the other side of that. See, I believe everybody can do whatever they want to do. You have to understand the dynamics of it. You have to study more. You have to plan more. You have to model things out. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to spend some money. You have to invest in yourself. So if the game plan is to sit here and look at Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all that every day, it's great. You got time to do it because nobody's making you work 8 to 5. The backside's going to come in a couple of years when people are like, wait a minute, I'm not making any money. Please, 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 in 2022, endeavor to study more. And if you say you don't have time, the average CEO of a Fortune 500 company reads 60 books a year. I would contend that if they have time, we all have time. So having said that, I'm going to give you 5 books that I think you should read. 4 of them are exactly the same books I gave you last year to read. I don't know whether you read them or not. I do have a new one this year. The Alchemist, classic work. Really quick read, take you about an hour and a half. It's about a little shepherd boy named Santiago. And the book simply says this: take any action step, it'll always work. It always does, always has, and always will. And then it'll get hard. And then we're going to find out how badly you really want to do what it is you said you wanted to do. The book, The E-Myth, Revisited by Michael Gerber, I believe it's a definitive work on small business. If you've never read these books, please make it your goal to read these books in the first quarter of 2022, between now and March. 5 books you got to read between now and March. Number 3 is a book called Essentialism. Disciplined Pursuit of Less, but Better. Number 4, a book called Green Lights. Matthew McConaughey. And the new one this year, I would invite you to read, is The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. It just came out a while back. Now, I know every person on here, I know you can at least listen. You don't like to read, or even if you do like to read, you can at least listen to all 5 of these books between now and March. There is no doubt in my mind. Here's how I know you can do it. If you'll subscribe to Audible, Audible has a setting where you can listen to books at more than regular speed. All right? Now, this is my little life hack. Some people hate it. I love it. I listen to books at somewhere between 1.7 and 2 times speed. You'll shock yourself if you'll try it. If you're in your car by yourself, which we know a lot of realtors are, you can listen to books pretty fast. All right? And then you can listen to them over again, or you can go back and listen at regular speed or whatever. But I'm going to implore you in the first quarter of the year to tackle these 5 books. It'll be easy for you to do. At 1.7 speed, because Mel Robbins' voice, I'll just tell you, Mel Robbins' voice gets a little wonky at double speed. It's really high pitched. So at 1.7 speed, though, I went through the book in 2 days. Happened to be traveling in my car. I was driving a lot. I went through the whole book in 2 days. The High Five Habit, if you're only going to tackle one of these 5 books, go for the High Five Habit. She lays out the fact you need to high five yourself every morning. You tell yourself you're good. You can tackle this, whatever it is, and get rid of all that stress, all that weird anxiety that creeps into our mind. So there's 5 books for you. Because the real estate business is not consistent and requires other people, you and your activities have to be. And yet we're consistently the most inconsistent group of people on the planet. Every time I talk to agents, I'm like, well, what's the one thing you could do that would make it better? Well, if I was just more consistent, I could get there. Well, here's the challenge with our industry. Nobody can make you do anything. It's up to you. You get to decide every day. You got to make the decision to be on this webinar today. There are other people that had the opportunity. They decided not to. That's okay. But if you can layer consistency into your business and into your life, quite honestly, everything starts to change. Nobody's going to make you do it. This is an internal thing that you need to do. So the question we have to answer is, are you moving towards something, or are you moving away from something? Are you moving toward a greater, bigger goal? Or are you feeling not too good about where your year ended up in 2021 and you're reacting to that now? I hope that I can help you to become more proactive, because here's what happens. If you're moving away from how you feel right now, what happens with people is as soon as we get some distance from where we are, the old habits start to creep in again, and we get sucked right back down. This is why you see real estate agents' business constantly going like this. Now, we've been in a market, y'all have been in a market for the last at least year, and really fervently for the last 6 months, that required you to react. The marketplace had so much steam, it required you to be incredibly reactive. The marketplace still has a lot of steam, probably not what we saw 2 or 3 months ago. Now's the time for you to be proactive. Now's the time for you to start putting things in, and I'm going to give you exactly the areas that you ought to look at. Start putting things in to be proactive. See, both of these things work short term, but only one works long term. And obviously, it's being proactive. Life is not lived at its highest level reacting to the whims of other people. Life is not lived at its highest level having to answer the phone every time, having to reply to a text message in the moment. That's not life at its highest level. Life at its highest level is planning. It's figuring out, what do I need to do in the long term for my business? What are those short-term decisions that I must make every day in the context of my long-term business model? So when you look at yourself, think of yourself as a real estate agent. I think there's 3 types of real estate agents. And number 1 is a true professional. Now, we know they're the true professional because literally across the country, I can ask any broker about their top agent. And they can immediately tell me exactly how their top agents are generating their business. And oddly, maybe not oddly, it's always coming from 2 or 3 things. See, they're not dabbling in a lot of things. They're doing 2 or 3 things very, very consistently, very, very well. They know every subtle nuance of it, and they ignore everything else. And it works. They're a true professional. I would contend that in your office, the guy that comes to mind the most is Rich Adamski with his expired work, right? I mean, Rich just gets up every morning and does the expireds. I had a great friend, Dan Sin, here in Springfield, Missouri, where I live. Dan has always said to this day, this is the greatest part-time job he's ever found. He works 15 to 20 hours a week, makes 300 plus a year. But what he does, the only 2 things that he does, he holds open houses, 2 open houses every week, 45 weeks a year. And he has 5 geographic farms. You cannot find him on the internet. He has never accepted an internet lead. He's never filled out an internet profile. He does what he does, and he does it at an incredibly high level. That's the true pro. Then we have what I call the tweeners. That's most real estate agents. They dabble. They try this, they try that. It's very easy for a salesperson to sell some kind of widget or silver bullet, if you will, to the tweener. And there's the rookie. They're everywhere and nowhere at the same time, operating completely out of fear and chasing business. Now, here's what I know. Number 1, this has nothing to do with how long someone's been in the business. See, this was my faulty logic 30 odd years ago when I started in the real estate business. I thought that eventually you just become a pro, right? If you do something long enough, you'd become a pro. That's not true. Becoming a pro, mindset, decision that we make. So number 1, we know that it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. There are people that have been doing this 30 years that are still tweeners and rookies. The other thing I will tell you is this has nothing to do with how much money you're able to generate. Because I know agents who do a lot of top-end revenue, but mentally they're still a tweener, which then shreds their bottom line profit. So I'll tell you the way I look at everything. There's only 2 nets There's only 2 nets that matter in life. That's net income and net time. It's the only things that matter. If you were one of my clients, you'll hear me say this a lot. I'll buy you a plaque. I'll get you a plaque. What do you want it to say? This is not about chasing plaques. This is about having a great quality of life and making the amount of money that you need to fund that life and go off and do the things that you want to do. I don't believe it's noble to lose your life in the pursuit of being a real estate agent. I don't. And I think that the pathway for you to get there is to turn pro. So we're in the middle of a technological revolution, and yet the numbers are going to be what the numbers are at the end of the year. The average income per realtor across the nation is not going to be any higher than it ever is. It's going to run in that $30,000 range, gross income. The number of transactions agents are doing, it's not going up either. And the amount of hours an agent's work is not going down. And yet we have all of this technology. We have all of these things, all of these new ways to engage people and this, that, and the other, but the numbers are not bearing out that our quality of life as an industry is getting any better. Because Thomas Edison said being busy does not always mean real work. The object of all work is production and accomplishment, and seeming to do is not doing. We are a very, very busy industry. Life test is the hardest test you'll ever take, but it's only got one question on it. Everybody will try to help you. Everybody will try to help you answer the question, but only you can do it. There's no wrong answer. When you answer the question, the world falls into place and provides you all that you'll ever need. But what's the question? What do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? Here's what I've discovered in my journey, my quest of being in this industry. I have been an individual agent. I've been a team leader. I've been a broker. I've been a regional director, and then I do what I do now. At every point, as I made a pivot and a shift in my life because of what I wanted to do and what I wanted, half my friends thought I was crazy. When I was an individual agent and I built a team, individual agents thought I was on some weird quest. When I moved to the brokerage side, people thought I was nuts. Why would you go out of sales and go into brokerage? When I went from brokerage to the regional director position, all the brokers thought I was crazy. When I left a very nice salaried position, all of my friends that are on salaries said I was crazy for leaving. Bottom line is, this is between you and you, nobody else. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Are you running your life is the question you really need to ask yourself. And it's a question you need to answer. I've gotten to the point personally in my life, I have what I refer to as my three-legged stool, and it becomes my barometer for making virtually every workplace decision that I make. And number one, I have to enjoy the work. If it's not something that I'm going to enjoy doing, I'm not going to do it. Number two, there's a monetary component to it. I have to be able to make the amount of money that I feel like I'm worth or that I need to make. And number three, I have to have complete freedom. And so when an opportunity arises for me, to run it against my three-legged stool, right? And that allows me to more effectively run my life. This is the same way for you. How you want to build your business, the production you want to do, the amount of money you want to make, what you choose to do with that money, this is between you and you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So the bottom line is we all have a life, don't we? As we sit here today on the 2nd of December, we have a life. You either feel great about where you are right now or you're challenged with where you are. Andy Andrews would tell you that at any point in your life, you're either headed into a crisis, you're in the middle of a crisis, or you're coming out of a crisis. I would say that the opposite of that is true. At every moment in your life, either something really great's about to happen, something great is happening, or something great has just happened. The bottom line is, wherever we are, please understand we created it. We did it. Nobody to blame but us, right? You can't blame a boss. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame your kids. You can't blame any of that. We made decisions that got us here. How did we create the life that we did? We did it by our expectations. We solely did it by our expectations. And where do our expectations come from? Well, they come from our thoughts. Where do our thoughts come from? Well, they come from the inputs. See, the world, as it's structured, does not put positive thoughts into your head. Facebook is not a positive endeavor. Facebook will make you second guess yourself constantly when you see people, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever you're watching. You see people living these fabulous lives, and sometimes it makes us think, well, why aren't I doing that? So when I talk inputs, I'm talking reading, studying. Study, read biographies, read about people that are doing what you want to do, because you can do it. I grasped this long ago, that if somebody else has done it, I can do it if I just figure out how they did it and go do what they did. I think there's 3 P's to success, and number one is we have to practice. Again, you're just exactly like Michael Phelps, Steph Curry, anybody you want to name. The elite athlete practices a disproportionate amount of time amount of time they're on the playing field. Once we practice things that we need to be practicing, we also are going to have to go generate business, aren't we? Now, I'm not saying that you need to go practice so you can cold call. That is not what I'm saying at all. But you have to have a lead generation function in your business. Most importantly, you have to learn how to make great presentations. You have to learn to bring value to the table. The shift that I'll talk about in a bit is, in today's world, you have to bring value to the table very, very early. But when you practice, when you prospect and continue every day for a little bit of time every day, a small time chunk, to try to generate new business, when you master presentation, you'll have continual growth in your business. It can't not grow. So we in our industry now, everybody talks about trying to scale, right? I would contend, stop talking about trying to scale and think more about bringing value. See, when you bring value, the business will scale. It has to. The business has to do it. Trust the work that you're doing. And then we get into, somebody that wants to be admitted here, sorry. Then we get into the 3 C's of action. See, the reason we don't take effective action is we're not crystal clear on what we're trying to do. That's the goal, right? That's where we want to end up, year end, wherever. And then once we're clear on what we're trying to do, when we model it out, now we discover the areas we need to be confident in. And when you're confident, you'll be consistent. See, I believe that the only reason that we're not consistent as an industry is we're not confident in the activities that we need to be because we don't practice enough. So it's this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That will allow us to take the proper action for ourselves. Maybe it's upgrading your past client system. Maybe it's out actively lead generating. Maybe it's purchasing business. I don't know, but you need to go off by yourself and figure out, I want to run my business this way. I don't care how anyone else is doing this. I want to explore this option because I think this would be fun. And then you've got to model it out and see if the math holds true. And then make sure you have the financial ability to go do what the plan says. I see people all the time. Oh, I think I'm going to start a geographic farm. So they go out and they find a neighborhood that they like, right? I really like that neighborhood. I think I'll start farming that neighborhood. And for the first 2 or 3 months, they send out, 500 postcards to these houses. And they don't get anything, so they quit. See, the goal was, I like this neighborhood. I'd like to do business in this neighborhood. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't a model. There's a model for every little section of our business. Bottom line is you'll only take consistent action on what you believe in, you're equipped to do, and is in tune with who you are. So this became my work 20 years ago, to start working with agents and brokers, helping them design business models around things they like to do. Because I know that we'll only consistently do the things we like, because that's where confidence is. See, I think that you're confident in everything that you're consistent in, and you're consistent in everything that you're confident in. And when you're not being consistent, you're just not confident, and that's because we haven't practiced. Biggest challenge in growing any business, I don't care whether it's real estate or anything else, is being intentional. And that means just waking up every day and doing the things that we need to do. What's the simplest business model you could ever write? Be good, be nice, and stay in touch. That's it. Be really good at what you do, focusing on the consumer. Be really nice to everybody. Stay in touch with your people. Stay in touch with your people. Look, I will tell you this. If you're good at this, at being a realtor, you're going to do all the work in most of your transactions. Get over it.
How much should I take?
Stop complaining about other agents and what they're not doing. Get over it.
20 each.
Do the work to protect yourself. Do the work to protect your client.
Pretty much take 2 on an average pain level, so it'll be 200.
I don't know who. Somebody needs to mute, and I don't know who it is.
I don't wanna hold my head up.
Hope they'll mute here in a second. Second part is be nice. Be nice to everyone. Be nice to the other agents always. To me, one of the hardest parts of being a real estate agent
This is
is doing a transaction and
calls.
knowing that you did all the work, and then turning around and thanking the other agent at the closing and saying, gosh, I hope we get to do this again. Be good, be nice, stay in touch. It's all you really need to know. So the question is, how good are you? In today's world, you're always competing, even if the competition is faceless and nameless. In a competitive environment, there's only three things that are going to separate you from any other realtor that I talk to. There's only three things you got. Number one is your processes. People refer processes, they do not refer people. Number two is your materials. Do you have the proper materials in place to differentiate yourself early when I first meet you? Because that's a shift that's happened with society. If you don't knock my socks off when I first meet you, probably not going to get a chance to knock my socks off later on. Lastly is your dialogues. So if you want to go do more business, if you want to do the same amount of business and get your life back, whatever it is you're wanting to do, focus in on these three issues. Make sure that you're taking people through your process every single solitary time, regardless of where the lead comes from. Make sure you have materials that validate your process, and make sure that you're working on a regular basis on your dialogues, because dialogues ultimately are what separate us. Guys, at this moment in time, as we sit here at the end of 2021, real estate sales is still a nose-to-nose, chin-to-chin, face-to-face, voice-to-voice business.
How's it going, brother? You good? So I got
There is a lot of money being played to try to do away with that and take it online. There's a lot of money being played. Millions and millions of dollars is being played. Whoever is not muted, would everybody please check and make sure you're
on
muted,
this one, I have a stain here.
please.
Wayne,
Your
I know
message
who
to
it is.
Kareem says, I'm
It's-
here, ready to.
I know who it is. It's Kareem Ramos. Do you have controls, Wayne?
I do. There you go.
Perfect. Thanks.
I did it. We're good. Okay, you bet. Sorry about that. Okay. So do materials matter? So the picture here is of a client of mine in Cypress, Texas. And I was imploring her that every time she did an open house, to have materials out. And she fought me for a little while. And then she sent me this text one day. I'm hosting my open house. I'm not holding back, and I'm putting everything out there. I even printed a list of open houses occurring today in the neighborhood to hand out. A little while later, she sent me this. I already picked up one buyer lead. Then later in the day, she said, you're so right. People are eating this stuff up. 3 buyers picked up, and they loved all the info. Materials matter, guys. Materials separate you. I hope that everybody has fabulous materials, but make that an action item. If you don't, make it an action item to go back and take a look at your materials. I don't know why that slides in there again. All right, let's talk about the tweener. Every business, there's 3 buckets of business: advertising, referral, and prospecting. Every business operates in one of the 3 buckets or all of the 3 buckets. Okay, this is not a real estate issue, but as real estate people, we tend to want to work by referral. Here's the dynamic of working by referral. I'm going to go through the model here in a bit. You need 250 to 300 people in your universe to run a really, really nice business and not have to worry about it anymore. If you don't have 250 to 300 people referring you business that you're in flow with more than 24 times a year, you're going to have to either prospect your way to that, or you're going to have to spend money and purchase leads, as we know a lot of people are, to bring those people into the fold so that ultimately we can build a referral-based business. Now, within the prospecting realm, there's about 8 to 10 different strategies you can use. On the advertising side, you know, it used to be, for those of us who've been around a while, it was Homes magazines and newspaper ads and various things like that. Right now, that play is purchase business. A lot of people are trying to drive a tremendous amount of business through Facebook. I'll be honest with you, the stats from NAR tell you that so far, without a prior connection to you, it's not gaining a lot of traction. So less than 1% of the time, without a previous relationship with you, do you acquire a client via Facebook. In the middle of all this is Tweenerland. It's where Tweener realtors live. They do a little bit of prospecting, but only when their listing inventory is low, and they might buy some. Maybe I'll try some Zillow. I'll do a little Zillow. I don't want to spend more than like $200 a month on Zillow. By the way, if you're doing that, just take $200 and take it to the parking lot and burn it, because it's not going to matter. You'd be better off taking that money and doing something else with it. And I have a big database of people. How often do you contact them? Well, I need to be better there. So they're just dabbling in a lot of different things. The only issue is we're not focused. Just simply not focused. Here's the game. You guys have seen this before. We have the general public. They're outside of your circle. This is the purchase business game, right? Well, better than the general public, that's your acquaintances. Now, these people know you and like you, and given the chance, they'll use you, but given the chance, they'll use somebody else too. These are the people that we drive by a home and we're like, oh my gosh, I thought they were my guy. I sold them that house. Why is there another sign in the yard? That's the acquaintance level. Better than that is your network. They always will use you no matter what. They may or may not be referring their friends to you. And better than that are your advocates. They stop traffic for you. Here's what I know for everybody on here. When you have a closing, the next closing you have, that person is an advocate for you. You did a great job. You got them the house that they wanted to purchase. You got their house sold for them. You handled the transaction professionally. You are awesome. I am your advocate. If somebody asks me the next day, who should I use? Say, well, I just did a deal with Olivier or Carl or whoever. They were awesome. I think you should call them. In fact, let me just call them for you, because I just talked to them at the closing yesterday. Please understand, people do not stay there, they move. And they don't move closer to us. Over time, they become part of the network, then an acquaintance, and then they're back out to the general public again. Guys, this is the play that the third parties are making right now and have been, and we're helping them build the machine, right? They're banking on the fact that they can get people to go to them rather than you as the agent that they dealt with, and then they'll sell the lead back. Or they'll just take the lead and go do something else with it. The principle of priority states you got to know the difference between what's urgent and what is important, and you must do what's important first. What is the most important thing that you can do? What is the line in the sand if you're a real estate agent? That's to create raving fans. Do you have a closed Facebook group for your people, where you interact with your people? This is the same client that I just showed you. I just showed your information from the open houses. I've been working with Jen now for a couple of years. Her business has more than doubled. She is in such flow with her people. It's amazing. And they're posting all the time on Facebook. So if you're going to do a Facebook play, my suggestion is you start a closed Facebook group for your people. This is where she does drawings and giveaways and all these various things for her people. Look, there's three issues to all of us in life. Number one is our skill set. Number two is our disciplines. And number three is our habits. Any shortfall or frustration that you have with your business, with your life, whatever, can be traced back to one of these three issues. So what I want to propose to you is that you make a really earnest attempt to embrace what I call the power of 15 in 2022. You can change your life 15 minutes a day. There's no doubt about it. If you'll spend 15 minutes a day practicing, you'll spend 15 minutes a day writing notes to your past clients, if you'll spend 15 minutes a day working on your marketing materials, if you'll spend 15 minutes a day doing whatever it is your model says you need to do, your life will change. No doubt about it. If you've always wanted to work out, for some reason you can't seem to work out, set a goal to try to work out for 15 minutes a day. Now, what will happen is you will say, immediately people go, well, what good's 15 minutes going to do? It's going to create the habit. That's the key. And then always beware of the rule of two. The rule of two says, don't let more than 2 days go by without you spending time in the power of 15. Don't let more than 2 days go by if exercise is one of the things on your list. Don't let more than 2 days go by without you going to the gym for at least 15 minutes, or at least going on a walk for 15 minutes. Don't let more than 2 days go by without you sitting down and writing thank you notes to your clients, or thinking of you notes, or picking up the phone and calling a few of your clients, or enhancing your scripts and dialogues and practicing. See, if we just break everything down, just break it down, and we go from the annual goal down to the daily goal, we discover two things. Number one, this is not 80 hours a week. And number two, you can see great scalability in your business. It represents everything you could ever know, do, and have. And the bottom line is we're never going to know everything. We're never going to do everything. And you're never going to have anything. So stop trying. You only need to know, do, and have those things that are in the context of your business model. This is a very freeing thing. You need to learn to say no. I don't want to do that, right? I give people the right every time. You don't have, I'll lay out all the possible ways you could do this. You can say no to almost all of them. You just got to pick 2 or 3, and then we're going to go crush those. Being good at something is the enemy of being great at something. The fox and the hedgehog. Foxes are awesome at parties. They can talk for a little bit of time about a lot of stuff. The hedgehog knows what they know. They just say, and they say no to everything else. If you study incredibly successful people, what you'll discover is they stay in their lane repeatedly over time. You've got to have a passion for what you're doing. You've got to believe you're going to be the best in the world at it. And you've chosen real estate sales as your endeavor to be elite. You've got to understand the economic numbers. And when you push those 3 things together, you will have this, as Jim Collins referred to in Good to Great, your big honking audacious goal. If you take any one of those 3 components out, you'll just have a goal. You take 2 of them out, you'll have an idea. So make sure as you move into 2022, you are very passionate about what you're going to try to do with your business. Steve McKees, you got to know what you're good at, guys. What are you good at? Where are those places that you shine? Where's your sweet spot, if you will? You got to have knowledge. You got to have both factual knowledge and experiential knowledge. If you're, and I said this to somebody the other day, if you're in that purchase business world right now, if you're out there taking Zillow leads or Trulia leads or Realtor.com leads or whatever, you know basically what zip code they're coming from. So every morning, one of your 15-minute things should be look at the brand new listings that are in that zip code every single morning, because if you think about how the consumer does this, they're going to call you. You're going to get the leads on the houses that just hit the market. Got to have the reality habit, and that really deals with just your presentation skills. How good are you really in a competitive environment? Because if you desire to do more in your business moving forward, you're going to have to expand, and you're going to have to probably compete. And you have to have a real serious look at how your materials, how your processes stack up in a competitive environment. You must focus. You must be consistent. The biggest thing of all is you need other people. And this is a huge, huge competitive advantage you all have by being with the organization that you're in. I talk about this company to all my clients all over the country. They probably get tired of hearing about you guys. You are so lucky to have the leadership that you have that does exactly the things that I'm talking about on here today. You desperately need other people. You have the vehicle to engage other people, really, really talented, smart people, to help you with their business, with your business. And they will do that. The only thing you have to bring to the table is the idea and the model and the want to, if you will, right? Talented people, it's really simple. Motivated, take initiative, they have desire, and have a bias toward action. That's all you have to bring to the table. And then you go sit down with someone that you respect and you say, I'm thinking about doing this. We'll sit down, let's chat about it. Need other people. Only 20% of the global workforce feel their strengths are in play every day. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday about this. The flawed deal is that you think your growth comes from sucking it up and getting really good at the things you're not good at. That's not true. What is true is Each of us on here today have talents that are enduring and unique. Each person's greatest room for growth is in the area of your greatest strength, not trying to shore up your weaknesses. Use the professional athlete analogy again. Who makes more money? Closer in baseball or the utility infielder? Who works more? Closer in baseball or the utility infielder? We can make the case the utility infielder is actually more talented because they can do so many different things. Closer in baseball only has a couple of pitches. They only work 2 or 3 days a week. They make a lot more money. You can take that into the medical field and look at the general practitioner versus the highly skilled surgeon. You can take it into any arena that you want to. Growth comes from your strengths, not from trying to shore up your weaknesses. 6 things you got to make sure that you understand. You got to understand your personality and where you're comfortable. Got to have your business model. Got to be crystal clear on what you're trying to do, guys. Got to be confident. Have great materials. Be consistent. And if you have the first 5, you'll get the 6th one. Only consistently do the stuff you enjoy. I just saw a quote yesterday from Bernhard Langer. He's a golfer, for those of you that are not golfers. But it was a quote. He just won the Charles Schwab Cup on the senior tour at 65 years old. And he made this comment about, I'm so lucky that I get to do what I love to do. I think the key to life is just doing what you love. And it's so true. You'll only consistently do that which you enjoy. You'll overestimate what you can accomplish in a year and underestimate in 10. You'll overestimate a month. You'll underestimate a year. You'll overestimate a week. You'll underestimate a month. You'll overestimate what you can do today, but you will underestimate what you can get done by next Thursday. Break everything down to its smallest level. 3 key people. Number 1, you need a consultant. And that's just someone that's not in the real estate industry. All right, that's not a hired gun. That's not what I do. That's someone you can find someone that you respect, that's a business person in another industry, and tell them what you're proposing to do in real estate and see if they have a different take on how they might do it in their business. One of the challenges with our industry is that we always end up with real estate people talking to real estate people about real estate stuff. You need to have a mentor. See, once you get your business model dialed in and you say, hey, this is how I want to do this, then to me, I would go to Carl or Olivier and I would say, who can you hook me up with that's already done it this way? Find me somebody that I can check off with that's actually running their business the way I want to, and they're farther down the road. And then lastly, you're going to need a peer partner. That's somebody in there at the same level you are, plugging it out, somebody you can check off with on a regular basis. 3 kinds of time in life, guys. This is huge. That's playtime, pay time, and prep time. We all want high quality, high quantity playtime. For me, I want to go play golf when I want to play golf, right? I want to go on the trips I want to go on. I want to do the things I want to do, and I want to do it a lot. We all want high quality, high quantity playtime. What we don't seem to understand is that the quality and quantity of your play time is directly proportionate to the quality of your pay time. I will tell you someone that understands this is Carl Sanfilippo, because we talk about it a lot. The quality of your pay time, quality time, leads to higher quality and quantity play time. But here's the real one. Quality and quantity of your prep time leads to the quality of your pay time. The time is a really bad lever to try to use in real estate, right? Try to work a bunch of hours to make sure that I get paid. If you'll go become better in preparation, get your time back, and then you can go do the things that you really want to do. Follow the model of the elite athlete. Elite athlete practices a heck of a lot more than they're actually on the playing field. Issues that we're currently dealing with. We got an 8-year market run. The thing has been going crazy. The number of leads that are being generated is astounding. There's about 100 million leads, be about 6 million transactions this year. Amazon is doing to shopping malls what online is trying to do to the realtor community, basically make the realtor community go away, because that's what Amazon has done with shopping malls. Interestingly, in the whole realm of Amazon, what has made a huge resurgence is boutique shops. I'm proposing to you that you need to take a boutique level of service into your real estate business moving forward. Oops. Some other market trends. We have what I now call a scrolling society. We go through our phones on a constant basis and we scroll. And if something doesn't get our attention in the very beginning, we move on. Well, that started on phones. It's now working its way into every other thing that we do. We have had an explosion in realtors. There's a lot more realtors now. So now we're a little more of an interchangeable piece. If you don't knock my socks off in the very beginning, I'm going to move on to someone else. No longer can you build rapport over time, folks. The old model we always had, like for open houses, would you please just sign in? And then the idea was I would follow up later, see if I could build rapport with you. It doesn't work anymore. It never did work really well, quite honestly. You have to learn the skill set of engaging people and showing value with your materials and your processes the first time I talk to you. That takes practice. It takes role playing. It takes all these things that we don't like to do. Value shown in three ways: initial conversation dialogue, then following that up with materials, and then enrolling those people into a process that you use every single solitary time. Trend number two is communication paths. I believe that this industry right now is bifurcating, both on the brokerage side and on the agent side. I think you're going to have a lot of people that are going to go cheap. I think we're starting to see that now. And then you're going to have a few people that are going to step up and become trusted advisors. What I will tell you is this: the more online communication we do, the more your value proposition becomes diminished. It's really hard for you to be my trusted advisor if I never get to talk to you, because we're still human beings. There's still a food chain of communication. Face-to-face is the best. I would contend now, because of Zoom and FaceTime, this is the second best way to communicate. Third would be phone, because it's two-way. Then would be video, sending a video out to someone. And then texting. And lastly, email. So I would challenge you that if all of your communications, or the vast majority of your communications with your clients right now, are text and email, you need to grab a hold of video. You need to start doing Zoom. You need to do FaceTime. You need to make sure that they're seeing you more. You need to make sure that you're going through the contracts with them and all of these things, because it's shredding your value proposition in the field. You get paid for strategy and communication, guys. You don't get paid for information anymore. The public has the information. These are the subtle changes that I see going on in consumer behavior that the industry is not realizing is happening yet. And it's going to sneak up on us like a thief in the night. The more important the topic, the more personal the engagement should be. Okay, there's two components of business planning. One's emotional and one's mathematical. Goals are one thing, models are something completely else. I'm going to run through a really simple model. I'm going to show you one really, really, really important thing that I want you to do with this model, and it'll tell us how well you're doing, all right? Everything will fly or die on paper. You'll model things out. It'll either come screaming off the page, I need to go do this, or it'll come screaming off the page, that would be a bad decision. You've seen this sheet before. I'm going to walk through it, but I'm going to tell you something that I've discovered over the last month in doing this with a lot of different people, and it has come screaming off the page. This, to me, is the basis of your model, right? So let me just go through it with you. Let's say you want to make $200,000 a year and your average commission rate's 3%. You're going to obviously fill in your own numbers. Let's say your average sales price is $150. I know where you guys are. It's much higher than that. But in this model, I would need 45 transactions. Now, the cornerstone for all of us, network. So here's what I want you to put in. How many people are in your network? The model says they each know 5 people in the course of a year who will do a transaction. And we model, and that would give us, in this case, 500 potential referrals. And we take a 5% conversion rate on those people, and that would tell you that 100 people that you're deeply in flow with will yield you 25 transactions. Now, let me tell you what's happened to me in the last 2 weeks. I've run this model past between 45 and 50 real estate agents. I was in a couple of offices last week. Model's 100% accurate. So I will tell you this. You take the number of people in your network, in your sphere, and you multiply it by 5 and take 5%. And if you're not doing the number of transactions that this very simple mathematical model tells you should be doing, your number one go-to action item is upgrade the number and quality of contacts to your past clients. I had a couple that I was meeting with. They've been in the business a year and a half. They had done 24 transactions from their sphere of influence a year and a half into the business. Model said they would have done 25. And they looked at me and they said, okay, next year we want to go to, like 40 transactions. And I said, it's not going to come from here. You're going to have to add something else in. You're already maximizing this play. So I want you to do this math. When you look back on 2021, how many of your transactions came from referral or from past clients, and how many people are in that universe, and see if you're already maximizing that, okay? And if you're already maximizing that, that means you are contacting the prescribed number of times that you need to with the value that you need to. For a lot of people, this is the only space that they ever need to do their work in. They just need to upgrade the past client systems. Be good, be nice, stay in touch. Everybody on here is really good. I know you're good because you wouldn't be with this operation if you weren't good. I know most of you, a lot of you, you're very nice people. But if you don't layer the third leg in, which is stay in touch, this number will probably not be proportionate to what it should be. If it's not high enough, here's how you look at it. These are the, look, guys, these are the 5 big buckets of business. There's a bunch of variations within it, whether we're purchasing leads on the internet or whatever. But if you're first, when you go back to this right here, if this number is not what it should be, and you're already contacting your people as much as you think you should be, then we've got to go do something else. Or if this number right here, it will not get you where you want to go. Let's say you want to go to 50 transactions next year, where you're going to have to look at another source of revenue. Let's say for sell by owners, if you did 3 a week, 50 a year, or 50 weeks a year, that's 150. Expireds, I know Rich did a session on expireds in Hamilton not too long ago. If I called 5 a week, 50 weeks a year, times 0.75, representing that 25% of the expired listings really are done with the process, that'd be 187 generated leads. If I do 20 open houses a year and I average 5 people in open house, and we figure that half of those people really aren't any good, that's 50 more leads or contacts. If we get an ad or a sign call, somebody calls us off of something they see, we get a half of one of those times 350 days, figure that 60% of those are non-starters, that's another 70. If you play the internet game at all, if you purchase the business, right, figure that 80% of those people aren't any good, that's another 70. That's 527 generated leads, same 5% conversion rate. I mean, throughout all of this, what we're acknowledging is that 95% of the time we don't get the deal. We don't get to the pay window. That's 26 transactions. And the thing to focus on is, am I taking the action steps? As I said earlier, am I being proactive in my business? Am I doing the things that I need to do? Am I making the contacts through whatever vehicle I decide to? Am I making the contacts I need to? When we total up 26 and 25, we now have a business model. Now, the next level is, do I know how to do these things? And that's where the practice and the training piece of it comes in. And then ultimately, we just break it down to what your perfect day is. And you block out the time to do the things that you know you need to do for your business model. And then when someone calls you, it's like, well, is this more important than what I already had planned? So many realtors have incredibly reactive business models, and I don't understand it. When you need to get to the point where when someone calls you, it's like, I could fit you in here or here, which works? And if that doesn't work for them, it's going to force you into that conversation. of whether you need to cancel something you had scheduled so that you can go meet with these people. What I hear repeatedly, I do a lot of work with a lot of teams on Zillow. What I hear repeatedly is people are setting appointments immediately, like that's the win. And then they back in to try to qualify the people, if they qualify them at all. And I'm asking everybody to flip it on its head a little bit. Make sure that you're not working with someone, that you're not spending your time with someone that's not going to be able to do a transaction. And I think that the very simplest model of all is, do they have a desire to do something? Every person that you meet, do they have a desire? Do they have the ability? Are they paying cash or getting a loan? And if they're getting a loan, have they already been into a lender? If they have the desire and they have the ability, would they like some help with the process? Because not everybody wants help. You're going to find people that they don't want anybody to help them. They want to do it on their own. And you need to just exit stage left and move on. And then lastly, well, could I interview to be the person that helps you? Now, obviously, when you're working with referrals, you already have the fourth piece of the puzzle. But it doesn't mean that you don't take that same referral through the first two levels of this. Do they have a desire? Do they have the ability? I mean, so many people I hear every year, and I have for years, like, well, it was referred to me, so I had to work with them. No, you don't. You don't have to work with anyone. You have to learn to take people through a process. Trust your processes, guys. It's the one thing you can hang your hat on. As you move forward in 2022, it's all about process. It's all about the processes that you need in place. It's all about learning what you need to learn. It's all about living a fabulous life in 2022 and moving beyond. It's about not working more hours, but yet generating more income. It's out there for all of us. Choose to do it, and you choose to trust the work. It's a mindset. Now, I know statistically, I will just tell you, less than 10% of the people on here right now will make the decision. That's the reality. 10% of the people will make the decision, this is the year that I'm going to get after it. I hope it's you, because it doesn't happen by happenstance. It's a decision, and it's out there for everybody. The hardest struggle of all, said Charles Schwab, is to be more than the average person. Then from The Alchemist, to strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. The more you work to become better, the more you work to become a more talented individual, the cooler people you get to hang out with. Talented people know talented people. They know it when they're sitting across from them. Go be better. Make 2022 the year that you decide to get after it. You decide to see this explosion in your business, if that's what you're trying to do. Again, if you're totally fine with the money that you're making, then let's work on getting to where you can make that amount of money in less time, because there's no correlation in the amount of money that you make and the number of hours that you work. To move forward, number one, be really, really clear on what you're trying to do. Be very confident in the activities that you go on. Incredibly consistent, and make the decision to make 2022 the year of your dreams, because it's out there. It's out there. I've lived it. It was a decision I made 1990. My income went up 400% in a year. It was simply a decision. And then since then, it's been a series of decisions to try to make sure that every day when you wake up, you can't wait to go do what it is you do, because you love every stinking minute of it. I got to quote my father in closing. Dad told me one day, he said, I never worked a day in my life. Everybody always told me your dad's the hardest working guy I've ever met. And what my dad said was, well, I never work because this is not work. This is fun. I love this. You have that level of joy in what you're doing, but it's out there. So go get after it. All right. Thank you guys very much. I'm going to open this. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. I don't even know who's still left on here. All right. Any questions you want to fire at me? You can unmute yourselves now.
Wayne, Heather would like you to share the PDF of an agent's perfect day and prospecting marketing plan.
I can do that.
Perfect. Anyone
Thanks
else?
for covering
Questions?
that. I have another question, actually. About that fan page that you shared from the Realtor down in Texas. What types of things is she putting in there for them? Obviously, I'm assuming it's all closed clients, whether they're sellers or buyers, but is she doing like monthly homeowner checklists, or what is she doing to kind of engage them while they're in there?
Let's see. She just did, I think it comes up this weekend. She's doing a shop and drop, or drop and shop for her clients. She has contracted with a daycare that her clients can take their kids and drop them off for free daycare while they go shop. She rented out a movie theater a couple of weeks ago. She did a deal recently with, I don't know, you come by and get a quiche. She didn't do the pie thing that everybody's doing. She said she wanted to stay away from pies, right? She does things like that. A lot of times she'll go in there and she'll post a Starbucks QR code and say, hey, go get a Starbucks on me, or go get a Dunkin' Donuts on me. You know, traditional things. I think she's doing a Santa Claus event. She rents a snow cone truck every year and asks her clients to come by. Just ways of just staying engaged. It's really not, I'll be honest with you, if you go to her page, it's not real estate specific. It's more just, you guys are awesome clients.
And I think you could even add people who maybe aren't clients of yours yet, but they've sent you multiple referrals. They're still an evangelist for your business, kind of thing, right? So I guess the follow-up question to
100%.
that would be, you know, everybody's invited to a million groups in Facebook, right? We're all added to stuff without even being asked. So what do you think would be good language or call to action to get those people to initially join in and engage? Because if you're giving them good content, right, and they're going to stay, but I think getting them there initially sometimes is hard too. So I'd love any pointers.
You know, it's a great question. So a lot of this goes back to one of the things that Jen embraced when I started working with her were client surveys. And I don't know if y'all use those or not, right? That every time she does any contractual paperwork, client survey is part of what they fill out. And then she tells them that, hey, I'm going to invite you into my closed Facebook group. It's just my way of keeping in contact with people. So when you get the notification, please let me know. Okay. And listen, this closed Facebook group is part of a much bigger play, right? She has a quarterly event where she just invites everybody in. This Facebook group is just her way of just dropping little things on to make sure she keeps top of mind with her people. It's been massive.
I think it's fabulous. And next year's, all of my marketing money is focused on Sphere. So so it's interesting that you're talking about focus and stuff, because it's exactly what my goal is. Money doesn't go anywhere unless it's touching my Sphere next year. And I think this is a great way to do it too. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah. And guys, listen, I'm going to tell you something seriously. It's the line in the sand. I firmly believe this. If you don't shore up and massively take your Sphere to the boutique experience, you're going to lose your people. I don't know of another way to say it. There's a lot of money being played, and it's working. I don't know if I'll give you an example. Have you all seen the ads for Ideal Agent on TV at all? You've seen those ads, the listing ads,
Yes.
right? And basically the whole premise of the ad is we saved tens of thousands of dollars by dealing with Ideal Agent. So I have a client who shall remain nameless, but I have a client that signed up for it just to see what it was. Like, I'm going to go play around with this and see what the deal is. That was 3 weeks ago. Had 20 listing appointments in the last 3 weeks.
Holy shoot.
Yeah. Scary. Very scary. Right? It's a discount model. He's like, I don't like it. I wanted to see what it was, but he goes, this is scary. Now, this guy runs a team. Okay. I'll give you a little history on this cat. Got a 20-person team. They will close right at 400 transactions this year. And we had a very serious initiative over the last year. One was to upgrade for all of his people their dialogue on accepting online leads. He has a relatively large Zillow play, about $7,000 a month. We've been able to take his Zillow closed transactions by simply working with his people on dialogue. We've been able to take his closed transactions on Zillow from 30 last year to 55 this year. We've also focused in on utilizing the spheres of influence of his team members, which he wasn't doing before. He was doing a pretty good job, but the team members were just kind of the team members, and we made this focus to really do it, increase the transactions by 100. And so this is the line in the sand for everybody. Boutique level service. Why do you go to a boutique? Because they know you. They curate clothes for you, right? When you go in there, they know you by name. They know what you like. They might be calling you when something new comes in that they think you would like. That's the level of service that we have to start providing, because Amazon has already done it to shopping malls, and the third parties are getting more and more eyeballs. I mean, I hate it. I believe that technology is going to do to the industry, honestly, what the industry never does want to do for itself, and that's raise professionalism. And I don't know if any of you are NAR directors and huge NAR fans. If you are, mute me right now from what I'm about to say. NAR talks a really freaking good game of professionalism, but they don't want a few professional real estate agents. They want a whole bunch of people paying dues. And it's affecting the top people in the industry. So there's my non-politically correct speech. So anyway, focus on past clients, guys, and use that little model because it's pure. We had one guy that was outperforming the model. He actually had a 7% conversion rate on his people. But when we contrasted the number of people to the number of contacts that the agents were making, the model held true. So that's a really quick way to see how you're doing with your past clients. Okay. Again, take the number of people that are in your database times 5%. That should be how many transactions you're doing from past clients. I just ran talking to Jane Mueller on Tuesday, and we ran hers through this, and it was there. I'm like, well, you're crushing it. You got 400 people, did 100 transactions strictly by referral. Now, if you have 400 people and you only did 25 transactions, either the messaging is off or the number of contacts is off, or you have a bunch of people in there that don't really know you, like you, and want to deal with you. That's to me where the core. Well, I had that happen. I had 1,450 people in my database. Long story short, when I ran a little model to try to figure out who really liked me, 1,100 people didn't like me all that much, and I had to get rid of 1,100 people out of my database. But I burrowed in with the 356 that were left, and my business doubled in 12 months. Right? We tend to get these stinking big databases of people that are like bad phone books, and it's just, we need to stop. Just winnow it back down, upgrade the quality of content, do a Facebook page, all that good stuff, send videos. Okay. Sorry, I got on a rant. Any other questions?
Hey, I want to chime in a little bit on Heather's question, not to continue on the same one topic, but Heather, the one thing you can do is you can control your actions. So you can control that you're inviting all of your past clients. You can't control how many actually subscribe to the group. So kind of don't worry about that. Just take control of your actions, which are, I am inviting them. And what I've seen also from a couple
the same
agents,
thing this week in humanity and life. So you're not wrong there either.
Exactly. Thank you. One other thing I saw is once you have this group, you can help people in the group network together. So if you have an accountant in the group, if you have a mechanic in the group, so it's helping each other and you're creating this community. And last but not least is just promoting community events, right? Because a lot of times people don't know what's going on. And part of your role is to be ingrained in the community, to look at the town's page online to see what events are scheduled and put that out there. And also it's a way to say, hey, I'm going to be hosting an open house. I'd love to see you guys, not about the house, but just pop in and come visit me. Or I'll be downtown this weekend at the sidewalk sale. What time is anyone planning to go? Be great to connect, right? It's about that community that you're building with them. So there's a lot of warm and fuzzy stuff like that that you can do once you create this group. So just take action and invite them. Don't worry about the messaging so much. Just take action.
Yeah, it was interesting when I had a database of 1450 and I went on this quest to find out who really did know me, like me, and wanted to deal with me. People that I had would not have thought were real advocates for me showed up to be massive advocates. Other people that I thought would be didn't really like me very much anymore, apparently. And my database was a mess. I mean, it's a horrible story. I had 4 times when the new wife crossed out the ex-wife's name and wrote their name on and sent the survey back in. I had one couple that took out a red marker and said, we wouldn't recommend you to a dog, and sent the survey, sent the survey back in. Because there was a drawing for dinner. I guess they thought they were going to win. They didn't win the dinner, by the way, the people that wouldn't recommend me to a dog. But it was this database creepy thing, or database creep, that happens to us. So I'm a proponent of keeping the database small and tight and really loving all over the people. And I agree with you, Olivier. You were going to make every attempt to try to pull you in closer. But like my dad, as an example, would never be an advocate for anybody. He just wasn't wired that way, right? So a lot of people won't participate, but Heather, Olivier's spot on. Do your part and invite them. Make it cool. And when people start posting about how they won this, you know, thanks for the Starbucks, this, that, or the other. What Jen does put in there, it's always, you know, when you go by Starbucks, be sure and take a picture of yourself with the Starbucks with the hashtag Cypress Best Realtor. And these people do it. It's just awesome. They're like, you're the greatest. Somebody posted just literally on her Facebook page the other day. I just want to tell everybody that Jennifer Dodds is the greatest real estate agent on the planet. Not within the group, just on her Facebook page. So anyway, all right. Any
Can I
other
ask
questions?
a quick question? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
What Olivia was saying is my client database, I'm not in a specific community. I'm all over the place. So I'm kind of confused on how I would promote it's a fantastic idea, but I don't know how to promote since my clients are in a very large area. They're not in a specific farm, a specific community. Any suggestions on that?
Well, from the Facebook page perspective,
Yeah.
I would just, if you don't have the ability to add that leg in that Olivier said, I would just make sure that you follow Jen's model, which is just, you just love on your people all the time. Probably a lot more Starbucks giveaways and things like that.
Okay.
I mean, that's really all this thing is like you're being thanked continually just for being in my inner circle. That's
Okay.
really what it is. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I got to run. I will, if Vic's still on here, I don't know if she is or not. I will send you the recording later today. Those of you that want to watch it again, fill out the prospecting sheet, guys. Sit down with Carl and Olivier. Get your model in place. Get the materials that you need. If you want me to help you or don't know what I've been talking about, send me an email. Olivier and Carl got my email. They got my cell phone. Text me. I don't care. I'll help you any way I can. Have a great day. I got to catch
Thank you,
plane.
Wayne.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Bye,
for
guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Wayne.